Our purpose is to build a holistic voice that creates a community of like-minded, healthy people for a healthier planet. Our goal is to unify the community, nourishing the growth in mind, body, spirit, awareness, and wellness. We want to engage our community and visitors so they have access to powerful momentum of the holistic presence in our community. We do this by creating awareness through interviews, providing education and awareness of cutting-edge modalities. We also provide access for consumers to quality natural health and wellness professional and practitioners and like-minded business that support this community. Thank you for listening with us on Healthy Planet One. Stay with us for the next interview with our next holistic guest.
Welcome, everyone. This month's focus is on transformation. This topic is multidimensional, and we have invited 4 different guests to share their insight and their contributions within their various fields. So we invite you to listen in each week to these in-depth conversations that will make a big difference in your life. Our guest this week is Suzanne Gray, and she's been practicing in the Bay Area for 30 years as a massage therapist, a colon hydrotherapist, a life coach, and a therapist certified in the Wolfe deep tissue and non-surgical practices. She emphasizes the relationship of colon as the colon whisperer to overall health. I just love this. Suzanne earned her master's in education from USF and proceeded to follow her interest in holistic health. After years of her own digestive issues and at her practice at Renew Life Wellness, she's taught also colon hydrotherapy internationally. So Suzanne, welcome as our colon whisperer. You know, I first heard about colon hydrotherapy, I have to tell you, on the air, on a radio show 19 years ago.
Wow.
This is great. They actually did the entire thing on the air. I was so taken, I made an appointment at the same place. So can you
never knew what it was before that, did you?
No one I knew what it was. But can you share with our listening audience what colon hydrotherapy is all about?
Sure. Colon hydrotherapy is a very gentle way of cleansing the colon. We don't use chemicals. We use filtered water. It's regulated and it's warm. We don't want to put cold water up the bum. And it goes in very slowly. We have disposable tubing and a speculum, and we have different size speculums, small and medium. And water is infused into the large intestine, or also called the colon. We have a temperature gauge and a pressure gauge on our equipment, so we know what is going on in the large intestine. So when a person gets full, we release the water, and we have a view tube so you can see what comes out of it. And it is quite exciting, let me tell you.
Quite the show.
I'm laughing because I don't know that everybody would think that it's exciting, Suzanne.
Well, you know,
it's at least interesting.
It's interesting. I've been doing this for 30 years and I still get excited. I mean, I have worked on professional ball players. I've worked on political figures, some other famous people, and I work on everybody like myself and like you two young ladies.
Yes, we are clients.
I know. You, and I want to say this on the air, you are an exceptional healer and colon therapist, by far above most people that I've actually interacted with. But how in the world did you ever get involved with this amazing industry?
Well, you know, I've had digestive issues, constipation to be very specific, and I didn't know what was normal or what was healthy. And I came across a book, Tissue Cleansing Through Bowel Management by Dr. Bernard Jensen.
Oh.
And I seeked out colon therapist. I remember the one I went to first was Elaine Smithson. And then I met Mary Ruth Baker and then Brenda Watson. And that is where I really started. Brenda Watson and I became partners and founded Renewed Life Wellness 30 years ago.
Brenda Watson, her book changed my life. So that's how you and I connected too. When I read her book, and I was so thrilled that of your connection with her, and I totally trusted you. It really just great experience. I mean, your expertise and knowledge. So I was going to ask you about the colon.
Yes.
Because we're in colon season right now. The fall is actually colon season in the health world.
Yes, in Chinese medicine, it's the metal element with the lungs and the colon, and it's related to the skin. So the colon is such a fascinating organ. It's as long as you are tall. It's a 4-layer muscle, and it expands and contracts. So the thing is that, if you normally eat 3 meals a day, and that would be 1,095 meals in a year. And if you only eliminate 1 time a day, where are the 730 meals? We should be eliminating 3 times a day. So some of that pooch that's there, it may not be adipose tissue. You just might be full of poo, and that's not the truth.
It's true.
Yeah, and what I have found too, because I was the first colon therapist in a GI's office prepping for colonoscopies, and I had the great honor, and I say blessing, to watch colonoscopies, and found that people that have long arms and legs usually have an extra long colon. Now, personally, I know that for a fact because I do have long arms and legs. And when I went in for my colonoscopy, the doctor told me I had a very windy colon and it was long. You see, not all colons are created equal. And it depends on the individual. So when somebody comes in and sees me, I have a long list of questions to ask them. And of course, with my palpation skills that I've developed over the years, I can feel different things. And what I love about this so much is how I was guided to relate to the body, mind, and spirit, and how the colon is related to that, because we really have 3 brains in our body. We've got the brain in our head. We've got the brain in our gut, and a doctor actually wrote about the second brain, but we have that connecting brain, which is in our heart. And that's got 40,000 sensory neurites. So when I do my work, I do a lot of energy work. However, I like to meet the client where they are at. If their belief system is not there, then I ask them a lot of questions so I can relate to them, because the session is about them. And where the mind goes, the body will follow. And past experience are stored in the colon. If I can share an experience with you, I was actually doing a colonic on somebody, and this lady just broke out into tears. And she had been abused as a young child. And so I worked with her, and she was into energy, and I worked with her on her belief system and how to allow that to be let go. Now, of course, you're not going to do it in one session, but I've worked with her for several months. And it was such a rewarding thing when you see people come out of the session room and they're just so radiant and happy. It just warms my heart.
Well, I know that when I've come to you, we have pretty deep conversations because of my astrological background, but because I also the traditional Chinese medicine. And what I love about the colon and the time of the fall, especially, and then in the spring, there's a time of, detox, but this letting go of emotion. So people that hold on to emotions or don't let them go, knowing that does affect the body, and the colon is one area that takes.
So, Kimberly, you mentioned Chinese medicine, and I wanted to ask Suzanne, it's my understanding that some people have fed back to me that in TCM they do not really encourage colonics. Is that your understanding, Suzanne?
My experience has been each person in acupuncture or TCM are different. I work with a few of acupuncturists, also Ayurvedic healers, and everybody is different. And that's why I say I meet people where they're at, because where what will work for one person may not work for another. And I really have to be, well, not that I have to be, I choose to be very present with the person that is on my table.
Right.
So, and I also invite them to ask their practitioner or doctor if I can communicate with them, because I believe in teamwork.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Now, I want to ask you about colonoscopies. Is there any conflict with doing colonics versus a colonoscopy or vice versa?
Well, actually, people get those terms mixed up. Colon hydrotherapy is the prep used to do a colonoscopy. While I was in the doctor's office, I did a lot of prepping for a colonoscopy. Colonoscopies are when they have the camera and they have the long tube going throughout the colon. The colon hydrotherapy will clean the colon so that the doctor can get through the colon much easier and get a clear picture. And it's fascinating because you can tell who drank their water, who followed the protocol, and it's just fascinating to watch.
Do they do that anymore, though?
Do what?
Do the colon hydrotherapy before the colonoscopy?
Yeah, I thought they gave them like chemical type of
well,
stuff.
They do that. Now, some doctors will suggest colon therapy. There are not a lot. The doctor that I worked with, they were came in partnership with Florida Medical, so they have some restrictions. I have had some people come from him because he recommended, but I also have a lot of people that say, I'm not telling my doctor, but I'm doing the colon hydrotherapy because those chemicals dehydrate me. And actually, the prep for the colonoscopy actually hydrates the individual. And I have a protocol for a 1-day or a 2-day session for that. And again, it depends on the individual.
So can you opt out of the chemicals? That's what I'm a little confused.
The drink that they have you drink.
Yeah. I won't drink that.
No. So colon therapy is what we do. When I went in for mine, because I know I had an extra colon length, I actually did a protein shake, and then I drank water for 2 days, and I gave myself a colonic, and I was as clean as a whistle.
Who are candidates for colon hydrotherapy?
Anybody that poops, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. Because I have yet to see somebody in my 30 years of experience that has a clean colon, even if they do poop 3 times a day. Because what is a good poop? I have names for poop, as you well know. When people poop little round raisinets or milk duds, I call them, they're dehydrated. And then we have short little Lincoln logs, and then we have long logs. And it gives me information on what is going on inside of them, because people do have extra long colons. There's areas that get smaller and then thinner. So if a person wants to improve their health or just be healthy, absolutely do the colon therapy. But I have people that get fatigue. They have constipation, foggy brain, diarrhea, leaky gut, candida, bloating, inflammation.
And does your work help them?
Absolutely. I had a person, excuse me, that during their session, only thing that came out was gas.
Yeah.
Gas can actually stop the feces from coming through.
Yeah.
I had a client whose daughter was rushed to the hospital because she was in severe pain. When they did the x-ray, it was gas. She had a gas pocket in the transverse area.